Hey, today I'm talking about this Italian sci-fi movie from 1980s, and it's got exploding bodies, it's got some green eggs, it's got a goblin soundtrack. It's one of my favorite sci-fi movies. It's from director Luigi Cozzi, and I'm talking about Contamination. It's a really odd mixture of Ridley Scott's Alien, and it's got some James Bond elements thrown in, and it's made all over the world in New York City, in Colombia, and in Italy. And it's got the actor from Zombie Flesh Eaters, Ian McCulloch, plays the lead role, and some other elements from Zombie Flesh Eaters are also recycled in Contamination. It's highly unoriginal because it steals ideas from all over the place, but the way they are thrown together makes it a lot of fun. It's quite a slow-paced movie. There are some really long stretches where almost nothing seems to happen, and then suddenly there are exploding bodies again, and there are some amazing practical effects. Unfortunately, movies like Contamination don't get made nowadays anymore. It's really a mixture of low budget effects and some creativity, which can only be it can only be achieved if you are working on very low budget and with analog materials. One of the awesome things about this movie is the soundtrack. It's from Goblin, and the soundtrack would also be later recycled in such films as Hell of the Living Dead, and also bits of the score also ended up in The Other Hell. And it's a really good prog rock, and that was at the time when Goblin didn't have Simonetti on board, and it's actually one of the best non-Simonetti soundtracks. Also, going back to the lead actor, Ian McCulloch, he's done like three movies in Italy, and Contamination was his final one, and it's probably his best performance. He plays this kind of broken, alcoholic, ex-former astronaut, and he's really bitter, and his performance is more committed than in the other two movies he's done. Contamination was like a co-production between Italy and West Germany, so we have a couple of German actors on board for that reason. So like Siegfried Rach is in this film, who you might have seen in, he's also been in some international movies like Kelly's Heroes with Clint Eastwood. And the other roles are also distributed between like Italian actors, and there is a Canadian actress called Louise Marlowe, and she plays this kind of a scientist. And the interesting thing about Contamination is you could say it's a rare example of a movie where the lead is the female lead, and all the males are subordinate to her. Like, she has the highest rank, she's the highest ranking officer among them, and the cops and the astronauts and FBI people all have to listen to her. So it's a kind of quite a progressive plot device for 1980. What we really love about Contamination is the madness of exploding bodies. It's there are these green eggs like in Alien, but then they burst and there is slime coming out, and when people come in contact with the slime, first they start smoking, and then their bodies swell up, and then they go, oh, and then there's an explosion. And as a kid, when I saw the trailer to Contamination, I knew this was going to be the movie of my life. And it took me some years before I got to watch the actual film. And when you see the trailer, it looks like the best movie of all time, because they just took the best shots from the film, the best kills, and the best music bits, and it looks like absolute masterpiece. And then I saw the film, and I was a bit disappointed, because there are lots of moments where nobody dies, and people just talk or sit around and talk what they're going to do next. So it almost feels like a TV movie at times. But still, there is a lot of room in my heart for Contamination, because I think this movie just makes me happy because it's quite unpretentious. It doesn't try and be something original, and it knows how to entertain, even though it's a bit cheap, and you can tell some of the effects, the way they shot them, you can tell they didn't have money for retakes. So in one shot you actually see the camera in the shot, so they film to the cameraman, which is very, very obvious, especially in this Blu-ray edition. It wasn't so obvious on DVDs. And another great thing is the cinematography by Giuseppe Pinori, who also shot Murder Rock. So it's a very shadowy film with some nice spotlights here and there, so it actually creates that quite decent sci-fi feel. This film sort of stands out due to the way it's lit. And speaking of actors, like I already mentioned, Ian McCulloch is the one who's on the money, and the other actors, some are overacting, like Marina Massey is overacting as this Brooklyn cop. He's very Italian, very gesticulating. And then Carlo De Meio is like this FBI sidekick, and he's really, like, he downplays his role. Even when he like crashes his van through the gate, he's a bit stone-faced in this film. There are also some bit parts, like you see Martin Sorrentino as the warehouse worker, and it's really good to see him show up. He's been in a few films. He's been like on Fulci's Gates of Hell, for example. So this DVD from Arrow is a really fantastic edition. What I really like about this is that it has like English subs, so that because the English audio track is a little bit muffled at times, so it's good to have those subs just to work out some of the lines which are not easy to hear otherwise. And just the presentation, the quality, the image quality is fantastic, and it's packed with extras. So it's one of the most cherished Blu-rays in my collection, and I just love this movie, and I was really impressed by the way Luigi Cozzi also pulled off the monster in the end. There is like a Cyclops very briefly in the final scene, and it's one of my favorite giant monsters of any movies. And I just think it's really well made, and you really, you can tell they tried hard to make this monster as realistic as possible on their budget. So I can totally recommend this film if you're into sci-fi, if you like practical effects. It's a really enjoyable movie, Contamination from 1980.